Hello, this short video is going to remind you of the future tense or tenses and perhaps introduce you to some new concepts. So let us begin by reminding you of, I could say, the basic future form, certainly the form that you will have learnt first, and that's namely the future simple, using will or won't for the negative. Now, this is used to state a fact, to state a future fact. It could be the sun will rise at, actually at the moment it's rising quite late, isn't it? Will rise at, let's say, 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. So to state a fact, or let me give you another example. Your training course will begin at the end of January. Now, so far, I'm sure so good. You will all be very familiar with that. There are two other future tenses that are worth looking at the same time. And one is the future continuous. We've already looked at the other continuous forms when we revised the other verbs, the other tenses, I should say, the present and the past. So it won't surprise you to know that there is, of course, a continuous form in the future as well. So here I could say at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, the sun will be rising. Yes, if you remember how we form the continuous tenses, it's the verb to be in the appropriate tense. So we have will be and then the participle, so will be rising. We can't really say you will be beginning, at least not. It sounds a little strange. You could perhaps say it, but better if I say, for example, in February, you will be studying English with me. Yeah. So that's the future continuous. Now, one other tense worth looking at the same time, which I think will be quite logical for you if you, even if you don't know it as yet, and it's the future perfect. I say quite logical because actually it works the same way in French. So I could say, by 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, the sun will have risen. Yes, will have. So future with have and the past participle, it will have risen. And we can say by March, or let's say by May, in fact, you will have completed your training course with me. Yes, future perfect functions really as in the same way as it would in French. So those are just some examples of the use of will, or as I say, won't. There are some other uses of will which we will look at perhaps in more depth during the training course. But the one which I want to make very clear at this stage is when we use will to indicate a spontaneous decision. In other words, we use will when we make a decision as we are speaking. So when you want to offer help, for example, you will say, I'll help you. I'll help you. You are offering, I'll help you. You will hear me saying, I'll explain. I'll explain that to you. I will say that in response, perhaps, to a question that you pose me. I'll explain. I'll show you. If I notice that the printer has no paper, I could say, I'll get some paper. Yes, so it really is a spontaneous decision. And this is compared with, if you like, and not to be confused with, another form of referring to the future, which is, let me just put it up here. So that was will. And what I'm looking at now, whoops, is the other way of using, referring to the future, sorry, by using is going to, is going to. And do be very careful with this, because in French, you can, of course, say je vais faire. And information, this is very similar, but we use it in a different way. When we use is going to, we are referring to a decision which has already been taken. Really, we have already made our decision, and we are simply informing the other person. Yeah? So, for example, let us imagine in your training course, I say at one point, don't worry, I'll explain that in a few minutes' time. And then someone else joins the group and they ask the same question. One of you who has heard me say, I'll explain that, could say to the other person, don't worry, Marjorie is going to explain that in a minute or two. Is going to, because the decision has already been taken and I'm just letting you know. Yeah, so that's how we use is going to. There we go. Let me give that as an example. Marjorie is going to explain. Is going to type better, I hope. Is going to explain in a minute. Yeah, because you already know the decision has been taken. So be careful not to get these two mixed up. It can sound strange. Not all the time, but if, for example, I ask you, let's imagine, where are you going to go on holiday? Where are you going to go on holiday this year? Where are you going to go on holiday this year? And you answer with, I'll go to Canada. It sounds a bit strange because you would only really say that if you are thinking about it at that point or making your decision. So you could perhaps say, I don't know, I'll go to Canada, or perhaps I'll stay at home. I don't know. Yes, perhaps. Oh, I think I just have a kitten has come in to my room. I could just hear a purring. If she will allow me, I'll bring her up so you can see her. She is really rather cute, but a complete pain when I'm doing work. I don't know if you can see her there. This is Sapphire, or Safi for short. I'm nearly finished, so let me just continue. So is going to is when you have already decided what you are doing. There is one other possibility, and that is the use of the present continuous. Let me give you a better example of this. If I say, again with is going to, or am going to, if I say I'm going to play tennis tomorrow, I'm going to play tennis tomorrow with Jack, because I'm using the am going to form, that tells you I have already decided, something I've decided to do already. Yeah, so I'm just telling you. If, however, I say I'm playing tennis with Jack, tomorrow with Jack, playing tennis tomorrow with Jack, you could say either way actually, tomorrow with Jack, there it is not only decided, be right for you, not only decided, it's also arranged with Jack in this case, and it's we say the rule of thumb. So the rule which will help you to remember is if it's something which could be in your diary, it's in my diary, dans l'agenda, c'est my diary. If something is in your diary, then you can also use the present continuous. And indeed, you will hear people using the present continuous in this way. I think I may have mentioned that in the video on present tenses, in fact. So if you watch that, you will already be familiar with that idea. Use of present continuous. You could always, by the way, you could always use the I am going to form instead of the present continuous. So you would not be wrong in that case. So in many ways, it's the same. But there is just that distinction, as I say, something that is very short because it's diarized. Okay, so hopefully that has given you an overview of how to refer to the future. Let me just stop sharing. And yeah, so that is my final little video on tenses for now, unless you come back to me and ask for something else. As already mentioned, I am going to be creating other videos on modals and other grammatical points as we go. But with the information you have already, that should help you to revise and prepare your verbs and your tenses so that you are ready to start at the end of January. As always, you're very welcome to get back to me with any questions or comments. And there is a cat just approaching the screen. Maybe she wants to say goodbye to you at the same time as me. There she is. Now you can see her a little bit better. Okay, bye-bye.